Welcome back to Stationeers. I think it's time to do something useful with those programmable chips. I did get quite a few comments about all kinds of different aspects from the last episode. Today we're going to be doing something with them to actually do something useful, rather than just a set example, you know, that kind of thing. So we are going to reuse this setup, but it'll only be temporary. So let's get started. What we're going to do is upgrade this solar tracking. I did show you an example of sine in the last episode, so let's just import that. There it is. Edit. So quite a lot of stuff, and quite rightly so. People, I think, well, at least one person panicked, saying, "Oh, this is too much. This is too much." It really won't be, honestly. Just give it a chance. Today, the stuff we're going to be doing will literally have 2 lines of code, other than this first one, which is just importing a value, and these last 2, which is just looping. So it'll just have 2 lines of code, nothing else. So it will be pretty simple. We're actually going to replace some math processors using programmable chips, and hopefully improve this whole setup as well. So it turns out there are ways to do this without using sine, cosine, tan. I hadn't had looked on the wiki. Someone did actually come up with a way to do that by positioning the sensors in a very specific way, and then we can do much simpler math to actually get it done. So I'd recommend that approach over my original sine and cosine and stuff. So let's actually get that done, and then we'll see about improving still further with the there's my phone going off. So improving it still further with the programmable chip. All right, so let's get started. What we're going to do, we need at least one more sensor. I've got one already, but I need another one. So let's just build a sensor. Yep. Okay, and I'm actually going to need some more logic IOs, just because I don't want to remove the existing chips, while we're actually working on the new one. Otherwise I'll end up without any power coming in, and that would be bad. So I just want some logic IOs. I'm probably going to, let's just print off 5. I'm not sure exactly how many I'll need, but that'll do. And I've already got some math processors in my backpack. And I've got some switches. There we go, that's one, and I'll skip forward. Alright, so with our logic IOs in hand, let's take a look at what we need to do. So this whole setup requires these sensors to be placed in a specific location. I definitely did not discover this. It's on the unofficial Stationeers wiki, so please go there if you want a more sort of written description, I guess. Basically, what we need to do on this to get it working is look at your solar panels and look to see which way your power output or input, output, yeah, is facing. So in my case, it's facing west, the direction of the setting sun. So in any case, whichever way it's facing, go 90 degrees clockwise. So in my case, north, and that's important. So just remember that, okay? And then we're going to need 2 sensors. So let's just get some cable, and let's put the sensors up here. So we've got them above this block, and then we will have to split them. So just put a junction in, nothing fancy. And in this case, that junction, it depends on what we just did as to where you're going to place the junction. All right, so let's take a look at the first sensor. First sensor, doesn't matter what you do with it. Yeah, let me actually just get on top here, then I can actually just not use up my propulsion. They don't let me actually place on the end of that without a block being there. That is very annoying if that's the case, but wouldn't surprise me. No, I really should be able to place that on the end of a cable like that. I mean, if I can place the cable, I should be able to place the sensor. Fine, I guess we'll have to just put it, but do I have a block? I need a temporary block. I have these, if I can weld a block with, but not necessarily the block itself. Oh, and let's just head down and print off just a block, should do, a steel frame. Okay, that won't take very long at all. And give me the block. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to put a frame up here temporarily then. And can I put this in any case now? That's incredibly annoying. Okay, fine. We'll also weld it up just because. And let's just get the welder out. There it is. Just one level will do us. We don't need to do anything specific other than that. And now will you place? You will, but only placing it on the wall. Can I actually manually rotate you? No, that's going to be also incredibly annoying. Fine. So we will put it up here then. And then just erase this block. So I want one facing this direction. Really? Like that. And I want the other one right here opposite it. Now, in this case, I'm going to want that facing downwards, and I'm just hoping this will let me rotate it to go down. Of course it won't. That's going to be incredibly annoying to actually fix. Let me do that off camera. Maybe I need to put up another block, erase the one at the bottom, and then maybe that will work? Actually, let's just put in some cable, and then we'll see if that actually works. I want to just see about how we can position this. So there we go. And again, we'll put the junction the same way it was before. Then we'll just put that back and hopefully just get rid of this. And then play a little bit of construction games here to actually get this working. I'm going to get rid of this block as well. So we want to get rid of that. And can I just place a block and connect it? Yes, I can. Okay, and then re-weld this. Put that away. And then go and grab this and see whether it'll mount on the underside. It will. Oh no, it is actually correct. Fine. Okay, let me just stand on here for a second. So what are we doing here? This one does not matter at all. Just face it upwards. Doesn't matter where you put it. Just face it upwards. Pretty much, you know, setting sun, rising sun, etc. This kind of direction. This one depends where your solar panels and how your solar panels are set up. So remember when I said to remember north? Well, north is that way. Remember to face this junction, the actual power or data connection, north, and make it face down, not up. Okay? That's very important, but it depends on which way your solar panels are facing. So I can't say with certainty what your world is going to be like, only what mine is. Sorry about that, but there's no way I can know that. And there we go. So let's put this away. So now we've got these sensors and hunger caution. Do I not carry? I've got a snack with me. Oh, I don't have a snack with me. I may have to go back into the furnace. The hydroponics bay. 1 second. Please don't be a furnace. Please don't be a furnace. No, it's fine. Good, good, good. Let's cancel the depressurization. It's 33 degrees. That's fine. Okay, I'm going to take a cereal bar. I'm going to nom on one. I'm going to take another one with me just to make sure. We don't have any need to grow more stuff just yet, but that will do. There we go. And let's cycle this. And open. Open, please. There we go. Okay. Hunger dealt with. So now we've got this pair. She's going to look remarkably like some kind of, I don't know what you call it. Street light, maybe? Yeah, except one's facing the wrong direction, but, yeah, there's no problem with that. So, or at least nothing we can deal with. So let's just get this stowed away somewhere. I want to just grab that. I'll just drop that away. I don't actually need it. And we will just get our tools here. I can just grab this cable. There we go. And we just want this to be connected to the rest of our network. Doesn't matter how. We'll rename stuff later. So I can connect cable to cable, obviously. And we're going to bring it into the top of, let's say, maybe top of here, something like that. And, you know, maybe I can move these later. It doesn't have to be anything particularly straightforward here. Okay, one more straight. A corner or two, and we should be done. So let's face that one, face this one. And a straight. Okay, so now all I need to do is make sure this is a four-way junction and we should be sorted. So let's just deconstruct that. put a four-way junction in, and we're done. Okay, so we've got our new two new sensors up there, which are going to be giving us different angles than we're expecting. So let's call them something useful. So this is going to be, what did I call these? Phi and theta, didn't I? So let's just call this daylight sensor vertical. And I'm syncing slowly again. That bug seems to have popped up again. Okay, and daylight sensor horizontal. Okay, there we go. Both of them renamed. We've got the first piece set up. Next, what we actually really need to do is read in those values. And we have two readers here for phi and theta. We're going to do the same thing. So we're going to need to set up a couple of chips. Doesn't really much matter where we set them up. So I've got plenty of room over here somewhere that we can do this in. So let's just grab our logic IOs. Grab a couple of chips, and we're just going to get two readers. So easiest way to do that with readers is just put them back to back like this, and connect them up with cable, of course. So I'm just going to lose the rest of this. I don't think we actually need that much anymore. Yeah, let me do that on off camera. Okay, so I've put those readers in place. One's reading the vertical daylight sensor, the other one's reading the horizontal one. We need to just change that mode, however, on the horizontal one. So we need to change it to mode 1. So I've just placed down a memory chip for the moment. We're going to feed in the logic memory, and we're going to go and select the output. So I need to just attach this side, don't I? Because otherwise it won't be able to see anything on the network. There we go. And now I need to go and select the, we want the horizontal one. So I need to click through all of these, all of our solar panels, and it'll go past the other daylight sensors. And we want the horizontal one, that one. And we're going to select the mode. Okay, so this should be written mode 1 to it. And let's see, the horizontal one is saying 81 degrees at the moment. Okay, and this one is saying 43. What's really happening here is that the mode of the first one is just the default mode. It's basically telling us the angle from the horizon up to noon and then down to the other horizon. But instead of going from 0 to 180, it's now, because of the way it's positioned, it's going 90 to 0 to like minus 90, I would imagine. And that gives us a good way of doing things mathematically anyway. So yes, we will just use that temporarily. That should be fine now. We shouldn't need that writer anymore, because these should be the values we actually need. We're then going to want to rename these just so that we can address them easily as inputs. In fact, I only need one of them. The other one will, well, let's just rename it anyway, because we'll use the other chips to actually address it. So let's grab our renaming tool. And it's going to be the vertical one, isn't it? Was that the vertical one? It is. Okay. So logic reader vertical. There we go. And logic reader horizontal. Okay. Now all we need to really do is just select the programmable chip. And we're going to select the input using the button 1. Okay, so we're going to change this to this. So we want logic reader vertical. So remember, the change to is the thing you have to get it to point at logic reader, and then click once more to get it to actually assign it to that input, because it just doesn't actually name things properly at the moment. It just names it a button 1 instead of whatever this will be. So let's just go through that. Logic reader vertical. So one more click. There we go. So that should be I0 now. And let's just edit this. This is probably going to break it, you know, because I'm deleting lines, and so it'll probably break it. So I'm just going to remove everything out of here. I told you this will be simple. And that first line is just saying, hey, reading the input, I'm putting it in R0. R0 is a variable, so just like a memory chip. And then what we're going to do is we're going to subtract, and we're going to store the value in R0, and we're going to subtract 75 from R0. So 75 minus 90, for example, at sunrise, sunset, I think is right. So we'll see that shortly. And then we're going to divide and store in R0, and we're going to divide R0 by 1.5. And that's it. Okay, hopefully, if I remember that right. We'll see very soon. I'm just going to copy that because it'll probably break because I've removed lines unless this actually is fixed. But let's export that to the chip. And is that changing? No, it's not changing, which means it's broken. So again, just as before, deconstruct and reconstruct. I hope this bug is fixed soon. Not that it's too much of a problem once this gets changed, but yeah, we'll see. Logic reader vertical is what it's set to. Let's set that on and let's re-export it. That's not working at all. Why aren't you working? Let me do some quick diagnose. Oh, is it actually set to something? Should be. It's not working. 1 second, I will rebuild. In fact, let's just import that. Yeah, it is set to the correct thing. And, oh, I'm not actually outputting it anywhere, am I? That would actually help. Yeah, that's my mistake. I deleted one too many lines. Move O R0. So move the R0 to the output, save, export. And now it's changing. Good. So we now should have a value, and this is the vertical value of what this should be set to, I think. Although right now it seems to be counting down and it shouldn't be. Maybe I've misread. Let me double check that. No, I didn't misread it. That's actually perfectly fine. So that is working as expected. I will put it in a paste bin, but it's really short. So I assume you can just type that, but I will put it in a paste bin. And then all that we really need is now, I think, just 2 writers, because we're going to be writing this value to the horizontal of these solar panels and this value to the vertical of the solar panels. And that's it. All that disappears if this works, and if it works accurately, because remember when I said when it's about a quarter of the way around, it can be off when you do things more simply, but we'll give it a go. So I'm going to leave those there just in case I need to reprogram anything. So I'm just going to take a couple more logic I/O units. So in this case, we're going to go for batch writers, sorry, my mistake. There we go. And again, we'll just put them back to back. And there we go. And then I'm going to need a bit more cable, aren't I? So let me just go and get some more cable printed, and then we'll finish this off. Okay, so now both batch writers are set up. We're taking the logic reader horizontal. We're putting that to the solar panels horizontal. We're taking the logic programmable chip, which is the only one on the network at the moment, so I haven't bothered labeling it. And we're going to output to the solar panel vertical. Okay, they're both off at the moment. Now this is probably going to produce nonsense results at night because this doesn't quite work. If you have a look here, the vertical angle is like 127, and we only really deal with 90 to 90, you know, the angle from sunrise to sunset. So don't worry about the way this is pointing right now. We'll worry about it when it gets to sunrise. So in order to do this, we're going to need to turn off these batch writers, which is feeding the solar panel vertical and solar panel horizontal. We don't want them clashing, so let's just turn both of those off. So our old system is dead, and it should no longer be moving. Great. And now let's turn the new system on, and let's see if they actually move. Yep, they're all about to go crazy, probably. So let's take a look at what happens to them. Now remember, I manually corrected these when I first started, so again, this may well require some more correction, but we'll see how it goes. I'm just going to switch the computer off. And then I think we're just going to need to just leave this going. All right, so I'm going to just go ahead and go and do some miscellaneous stuff off camera, and we'll see how well this, well, if those are pointing in the right place at sunrise. Okay, and here comes sunrise. Now, I made a quick change to the program. You'll see this sort of additional notation. If you're familiar with programming, you already know what this is. If not, basically anything after that // including the // is ignored. Because we only get 128 lines, the normal convention in programming would be to have the comments on a separate line. These are just called comments. But in this, because of the line limitation, new convention will probably come in just trying to put more comments on the lines. So this is just annotating things saying, this is what this line is doing. And just so you get the idea. And then that last 2 lines, you already know that they're looping, so you don't need to worry about that. And yeah, hopefully that'll make it more readable. It'll be in the paste bin anyway. So let's take a look at what we've got. So this is sunrise now. So we're literally getting a value from here of -12, which means pretty much 0 as far as these are concerned, because they don't really care about it at all. And then the horizontal, you'll see it's currently -90. And it's just now about to start rotating. You see -89, so it's going to start rotating continually clockwise, which is exactly what we want. We want this to go clockwise. So you see it's starting to turn there, generating 368 watts. Good, good, good. I'm not sure what the maximum is, but we'll see what the efficiency is once it rises to about 15 degrees, because we want to look at 15 degrees and then maybe about, you know, a quarter of the way through its rotation. So right now its efficiency is 88% and rising, which is a good sign. But of course, when it's near the horizon, because it's only 8 degrees off, sort of straight up on Mars, at the horizon, it's always going to be pretty efficient. It's only once it gets about halfway around that we start to see the real drops otherwise. But right now, it's 98%, 99? 99%, good. 100%. Okay, so the closer we get to 100%, the better. And just to prove that this is not using any of the old stuff, I've turned them all off. Okay, so we've reduced this from 1. Oh, let's turn that off as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 active chips to 5 active chips. And I think this is probably the lowest you can ever get to. If you didn't want to use programmable chips, don't worry about it. All you need to do is use 2 math processors. So the first one will take 75 and subtract this from it. And then the second maths processor will take that value, the output on the right hand side, and then divide by 1.5. So you'll need 75 and 1.5 in 2 memory units, and that will do the equivalent of those 2 lines. So there's no real complexity there. You've already done that before. But with this, we've contracted those 2 to a single chip. So today's episode is getting rid of 1 chip effectively versus 2 separate maths processors, because this is a maths processor as well. It's just a variant. So it's saving a little bit of power and a good demonstration of how to do this. And in fact, just the way this is set up means that when you're setting up on a new planet for the first time, instead of having all this, or even the power saving setup down there uses 2 active chips. I've turned 1 off. So now the only thing we're actually really saving is 3 active chips being on or not. So yeah, it's still okay to use that power saving stuff, but it's also okay to just leave it on a new planet. You don't need to worry about it too much. So yeah, just 4 I/O chips, which anyway, these don't take up much power by comparison to the maths processors. They take the more power. I think these are like 50 watts each or something, and these are maybe 10 or 5 or something like that. I can never remember the exact amount. Anyway, let's see how well these are doing. 99%. Good. That's really good, in fact. So it's pointing right at the sun in effect. And let's just, well, let me skip forward so you can see what happens when we're more towards noon. And there we go, we're still maintaining 100%. It occasionally drops to 99, just because these only update every half a second or so. That's just the tick rate and how it works in Stationeers. But for the most part, they're 100% efficient, 454 watts. I'm really pleased with that. So just to recap, take a look at where your outputs are for power, for your solar panels, rotate 90 degrees, and that is the direction that the output, or input, whichever one you want, whichever the cable connection of your second sensor, the one pointing down, needs to be headed. So in this case, it needs to head that way, north, which is what it's doing. The other one, put it wherever you like, just point it up, okay? And then you take those values, pop them in to our chip. Our chip processes just the vertical one, not the horizontal one. The horizontal one will give us the correct rotation this way. The vertical one, however, we need to correct for 15 degrees off vertical, which is what the 75 minus is really doing. And then divide by 1.5, that is, to convert into then 0 to 100% values. But in this case, it's not really doing 0 to 100% because we're rotating horizontally. So it's what it's really doing is doing 0 to 50 and then back to 0. Okay, so that's what that sum is really doing. So better than my original solution. I'm very happy indeed, and hopefully you guys are too. Okay, so if you like this episode, hopefully you did, we've got an actual use for the programmable chip, feel free to put more use cases below in the comments of other uses for the programmable chip that you can see. I think I may actually look at another use down here next episode. In our lift, we can go down. And underneath here, if you remember, we have a setup for these furnaces and detecting whether something's going into them or not. And that required a huge amount of chips to start with. We reduced that amount of chips quite substantially to these. And this is batch writers, batch slot readers, and then we're sort of checking multiple things here. And it's never been completely reliable. So maybe I'll look at that, and I really should leave that computer off, not on, just for power saving. So there's that option. There's also the option for our hot rooms. There is the hydroponics bay. And someone said, maybe you can do that requester system now for this. Okay, I did want to cover one other thing. Remember last episode, I said that these programmable chips only have one output. They do. But that output can be any value you like. So if you wanted to be really sneaky and wanted to get multiple things out of this, what you'd have to do is write a bit of a program to convert your multiple outputs. Let's say you had multiple booleans, so multiple on-off values. You'd have to create an output that was something along the lines of a regular integer. So let's say if you had two things set to true, you could output it as 11, a binary number, and you could then read that in with another chip and convert them back into two separate values using modulo. I don't want to lose too many of you by doing that, so I'm kind of avoiding it if I can do. But if I can't, then I may well have to do that at some point. If I do, I will actually explain it as we actually go through it. Hopefully there is some way of doing that without a huge number of lines, but I've not really looked into it too much, so that is just one thing to cover. Other than that, I'm pretty pleased with what my use cases were so far, and I think I'm going to extend that across the base. And obviously, you've already seen the electronics versions. We may have some scope to improve things with the programmable chip, I think, and see where we go from there. So if you haven't tried them, give them a go. Honestly, they're not that scary. It's just the fact that it's an unfamiliar system, and you know, good luck. And I will be obviously writing more programs as we go through. So if you like the episode, feel free to like, subscribe, and share. And I will see you next episode for some more Stationeers. As always, thanks for watching.